Well, thank you for taking a moment to remember this important experience together by celebrating communion. And to help you prepare, before you begin watching this video, please make sure you've got the elements you're going to be using to remember what Jesus did for us. The bread and the juice to commemorate what it is that Christ did for us together. We've been in this study of the New Testament book of Acts over these last several weeks, those who've been able to join us, either here on our Kirkland campus or online. And you may or may not know that Acts is actually the volume 2 of a 2-volume set in the New Testament. Both books were written by Luke, and the Gospel of Luke is really book 1, and the book of Acts is really book 2. And the hinge point, the turning point where those two books divide is the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. It concludes with that vivid scene of an empty tomb. And it opens with Christ sort of challenging his followers to go and take this message, and then follows them as they obey him in his instructions. It's interesting. It's not just the hinge point of the entire story, but it's the hinge point in the life of the Apostle Peter. The last time we hear anything from Peter at the end of the book of Luke, he's denying Jesus in the process of Jesus being tried. But then as the book of Acts opens, this once coward who was saving his own skin and afraid to acknowledge his relationship with Jesus has a whole new boldness because of what Jesus has done for him. He speaks up as a leader as they choose a new apostle. And then, of course, he very famously in Acts chapter 2 delivers one of the greatest sermons ever. And in response, 3,000 people become followers of Jesus in that single day. It's remarkable to see the way the crucifixion and the resurrection changed Peter. And the beautiful good news is it's still changing us today. In fact, that's what I want us to focus on as we prepare to take communion together today. Now, whatever your story may be, whether it's as dramatic as a Peter, and whether it's as dramatic as a Paul, it really doesn't matter. The beautiful truth is that because of what Jesus did on a cross, and because of him walking out of that tomb on that very first Easter, our lives have been changed. And what I want to challenge you to do is to reflect on that today. As you prepare to take that bread, and as you prepare to drink that juice, to remember the extraordinary way that God has changed your life. I mean, who knows where your life would have gone had you not met him? And yet his grace stepped in. And I know for me, it's changed everything. In fact, the Apostle Peter, who later writes these letters, 1st, 2nd Peter, he says this to the early Christians. In 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, he says, "You are a chosen people. You're wanted by God." Now, you're picked, he says. "You're a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." That's you and I. "That you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness." I love that vivid image of him calling us out of darkness. It's exactly what he did for us, friends. Calling us out of darkness into his wonderful light. And then this, "Once you were not a people, but now you are the people of God. And once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy." See, Peter knew a little something about experiencing and receiving mercy. And friends, we do too. And when we come to this moment where we eat this bread and drink this juice, we're reminded that we have received mercy as well. And so as you take the bread and drink the juice today, remember that. Remember the change that Jesus has brought about in your life. And ask him to use you in the same way he's used so many other before us. As his chosen people, his royal priesthood, and his holy nation. So go ahead and take that bread or whatever you're using to represent Jesus' body. Take that bread now. And you remember the New Testament tells us on the night he was betrayed, he took the bread and he broke it. And he said, "Do this in remembrance of me." So in remembrance of what he's done and the mercy we've received as a result, let's eat this bread together. And then it says, in the same way, Jesus took the cup. And he said, "This represents a new covenant, a new arrangement between us and God. When we drink this, we're to do it in remembrance of him." And so in remembrance of the mercy we've received, let's drink this juice together. Would you pray with me? Oh God, as we look back over the ways you've transformed lives throughout the centuries, the remarkable change from this cowardly, self-preserving Peter who goes on to become a leader and a bold spokesman for your truth in the early church. Someone like Paul, who starts out an opponent of yours, but is transformed, going from one of the greatest persecutors of all times to one of the greatest preachers of all times. Father, our stories may not be quite that dramatic, but they are nevertheless miraculous, because just as they receive mercy, we have received mercy. And so as we take this moment to pause and reflect, we do it with grateful hearts, thankful for the turning point in our lives before we knew you and since we've met you. And we ask, especially as we prepare for Easter celebration next month, that this will be a season when we are reminded of the miraculous way that you've touched each of us and the opportunity that we have to be part of your chosen people and your royal priesthood and your holy nation. Lord, I thank you for your mercy. And I pray all these things in the name of the one who makes it possible, Jesus Christ. Amen. Hey, I hope you're already praying about who you might want to invite to either be with us on our Kirkland campus for our Easter celebration or to join us online. This is such a unique season and a unique opportunity to invite someone. So I hope you're praying as I am, and I hope you'll take that step to invite someone to join us. We'll see you soon.